Lamar's never even gone over
But he had 1,000
20,
yards
20.
rushing that year as well.
Who cares? You're a fucking quarterback. If you're
What do
literally
you mean? Who
asking,
cares? What are you talking about? What do
it
you mean? Who
doesn't
cares?
matter.
That's offense. Because the fucking
It
weapons
doesn't,
around
no.
him. What do you
It
mean? This is
doesn't,
what I'm saying.
no. Why would you? It would be a waste of talent to bring Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd away from a real pocket, pure quarterback. Joe Burrow is a pure quarterback. He's going to throw the ball. Lamar Jackson's going to get, what, 3,000 yards passing? If he's going to run the ball, then you don't need what? Like, what is it? Are we giving him weapons and he's going to be a pocket quarterback? Or do you want him to run for 1,000 yards and we're not going to invest in the receivers because he's going to throw for less than 3,000 yards?
I still think, though, if you're an organization like Aaron Rodgers has made wide receivers really good. But one of the biggest reasons he's trying to get off the Packers is because they were not getting him top talent. Maybe that was one of the reasons they've not won the Super Bowl since they did it in 2012, 2011.
No, that's just a clutch. That's just something someone without Super Bowl says.
What?
I'll take things that I'll take excuses for not having Super Bowl rings for 500.
Right, but if you're an organization knowing that you have a top five quarterback and you're not getting him weapons and you're saying you're a top five quarterback, you should make these guys stars. That's not a way to run an organization as a
Well,
full as a
Devontae Adams
GM.
was a star.
Right, he was a star, but I'm saying like first round talent stars, and that's what we've been talking about. These first round guys are coming in and immediately making impacts. Justin Jefferson, oh my God, how did we forget this guy? The Bengals, Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase,
Yeah, he's a
T.
top 10
Higgins.
wide receiver. T. Higgins. Who else was Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson? You're telling me
Jerry
in
Judy.
those. You're
It's a
telling me
top 10.
in those last decade where you've had Rodgers when you have not won a Super Bowl, your first round picks haven't gone to wide receivers. Instead, they've gone to maybe one, but instead you're picking up Jordan Love and a defensive tackle or a linebacker. You know
Well,
what I
if
mean?
you're,
Like,
if
I don't think
I
as an
kind of, but
organization
if
you're
you're,
doing your due diligence to make this team win a Super Bowl. You're in it for other
but
reasons.
you also have to think if you're like the Chiefs just ran it with the people they had. So it's
Sure.
like you're a back-to-back MVP. Like you're yes. If you're asking me like is he supposed to just work with what he has? Yeah. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to win the back-to-back MVP. Like yeah, he's supposed to he didn't have any less than Mahomes had this year and won a Super Bowl with a terrible defense. Like if you want to be great, like yeah, you have to. Dude, Manning when he was rehabbing his neck went on to the practice squad to work with the receivers in the practice squad and got them contracts with teams, the practice squad players.
But
Like
I guess when I just again, I have a hard time thinking that that's also a good excuse for not getting your quarterback talent.
he had Devontae Adams though.
Right, but
Like you
what I'm
just
saying
need
is like
one
you need one guy out of in what those six how long were they together? 6 years?
6
7 years?
years. You got to win a
Something
Super
like
Bowl in
that.
that.
Yeah. So why didn't he? If Devontae Adams is so damn good and you only need one, why didn't he win a Super Bowl with him?
That's what I'm saying.
Why didn't he
Because
win a Super
because
Bowl
he
with
didn't play
Jordy
great in the
Nelson?
playoffs.
Huh?
Because he didn't play good in the playoffs.
But imagine if he had more first round talent around him and the organization did their due diligence and were like, hey, you know what Rodgers needs? You know what we need to win a Super Bowl? You know how we look good as a GM and as not an owner, as a GM and as a organization from top to bottom, getting our star quarterback some goddamn talent. I just don't think that's again, I understand where you're coming from. But you can also make the argument that Andy Reid has made Mahomes a very good quarterback as well. Just like Bill Belichick maybe made Tom Brady. Tom Brady does that in Chicago. Maybe he's not Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes is a quarterback on the Colts. Maybe he's not, Patrick Mahomes. What I'm saying is, and this could be an argument for like ever. If you're the organization and you have a very good quarterback, or at least a quarterback that seems to be top 10, top 15, and you are very much not getting him weapons, whether or not the excuse is he can make 4th, 5th, 6th rounders good, that kind of says something to you as an organization. Now, I understand needs at the time, right? Like maybe your defense does need to get better. The Chiefs, for example, need to get better on defense. But why aren't you getting you guys were about to hear a bang. Why aren't you getting an Aaron Rodgers much better talent? Peyton Manning won 1 Super Bowl with the Colts. He had Marvin Harrison. He had what was the tight end's name? Was it not Dallas Clark? Was it Dallas Clark?
Yeah, Dallas Clark.
Dallas Clark. Like he had some guys that were good. Why did he only win 1 Super Bowl?
Peyton Manning?
Right? Like
because he couldn't play in the winter.
Well, I don't know if that's an excuse because he still won a Super Bowl. Like, you know what I mean? Like he still went to Baltimore. He still went to the New England. Like he's still good. Like Peyton Manning.
What do you mean he went to Baltimore?
Or they went to the Colts, whatever playoff they won when they won the Super Bowl. But now
you're saying no.
But now you're
Peyton,
saying
it's not a secret. Peyton was a dome guy. The only Super Bowls he got to was the ones he hosted in his dome.
So then how did he win in Denver?
He couldn't play in the cold.
How did he win in Denver?
Dude, he didn't even start that season that he won in Denver. He was benched.
Won in Denver.
The defense won in Denver.
Okay, sure, but like
the
now
no-fly
you're giving
zone.
The weather as an excuse. Why isn't talent an excuse? I guess that's kind of where I'm getting.
The weather, because players choke, and you got to know why they choke. Peyton Manning couldn't play in cold weather, and everybody that knows Peyton Manning knows this. And Aaron Rodgers,
but that's not an
scoring
excuse.
one touchdown
to be a quarterback in an NFL. You're telling me a Hall of Fame quarterback has an excuse, but Lamar Jackson can't choke. He can't choke once.
No, it's not an excuse. It's a bruise on it's a defect on his career. It's not an excuse. People don't want to be remembered. What do you mean an excuse? I'm not excusing anything. I'm telling you what made him a bad quarterback in the playoffs.
Every quarterback has to play in the cold weather, though. So
yes, this is not an excuse. I'm not excusing it because there's no justifying on the other end of this. I'm just telling you Peyton Manning was bad in cold weather. If Aaron Rodgers can drive down in the first series in the 49ers game, in the NFC Championship game last year, or 2 years ago, and score a touchdown, or a divisional round, score a touchdown on the first drive, and that shows you right there he had the talent to do it. They couldn't score another touchdown the entire game.
Aaron Rodgers?
So it's yeah.
So, but Aaron Rodgers plays in cold weather all the time. Why is he?
No, Aaron Rodgers likes cold weather.
Why does he only have 1 Super Bowl?
Because that's what I'm telling you right now. He didn't play good that game.
So, okay, my whole reasoning, and I kind of love that we're having this argument, is that again, like I feel like there's got to be talent around the quarterback. I don't think there's excuses whether like this is one of the reasons I feel like I'm in defense of Lamar Jackson.
Well, you're forgetting how hard it is to win a Super Bowl. Like, there are quarterbacks that Drew Brees only has one.
And how hard is it when you don't have talent around you? It's much harder. How hard is it when you don't have first-round talent around you?
And it is hard. It is very difficult.
So
but that's why Lamar needs to stop, because he's trying to get paid like Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. And he's not Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. They win a lot of Super Bowls. Mahomes will win at least 6, just like Tom Brady. And that's why they are different than Lamar Jackson. Like, if you want to pay Lamar Jackson the same way that you're paying Brett Favre when he was a Packer, then sure, go ahead. But Lamar Jackson wants to be paid more money than Patrick Mahomes. Like, no, you don't get
He
to.
wants guaranteed money. So, and this
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
why?
So if
Why
you're,
would a player that can't stay healthy get guaranteed contract?
so why would you give Josh Allen $258 million when he can't win a big game to save his life?
He could win the big game. We already talked
He
about this. We
hasn't. He
saw
hasn't. It's been 3 years, and he hasn't. And he's
they
proved that
changed
he
the rule
hasn't.
because if he would have got the ball, no, that's such a fucking stupid thing to say. He went
How
back
are you
and
gonna tell
forth in
me
the
that's a
he went back and forth in the last 7 minutes, touchdown for touchdown with Patrick Mahomes,
and
and
couldn't
proved
win?
that there's because he's not on defense. He didn't get the ball last. What do you mean he
Okay,
couldn't
but
win?
what? So what happened last year? What
It
happened
came
this
down
past
to a
season?
coin toss. He was hurt.
He was hurt this season.
Yes. He was hurt
When
all
was?
season. You know how you don't know about it? Because he's not a bitch and doesn't sit out of playoff games.
Good point. But he still didn't win it. So why give him 258? 258 over a contract.
Because they paid him after he went toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes. They didn't pay him this offseason. It's what you've done for me lately, and that's what the NFL is always going to be. So if he got paid after going toe to toe with Mahomes, so be it. He didn't get that contract after this, and Joe Burrow still hasn't gotten paid. Lamar Jackson sure the hell isn't going to get paid. He hasn't done anything since 2018.
2019.
2019. That's a long time ago. In football years, that's the average career of an NFL player is like 2 seasons. So that's an entire career away what Lamar did.
I guess it's just like it comes down, and man, this really should have been argument of the week right here. God, like what the fuck? Bill's saying, "Ooh, shots fired at Lamar by Kyle. How come you didn't know he was injured? Because he's not a little bitch." All right, well, this is argument of the week, and we're gonna put it on the YouTube.
Definitely argument of the week
and everything. This is a good one. Again, I feel like the injuries just happen in the NFL, man. It is what it is. You can make an argument that I guess Josh Allen should have not played that game because yeah, you can be not a little bitch, but you can also hurt your team by not, getting arguably your best wide receiver in the game during that big playoff game. And you've lost 3 years in a row in the playoffs. This year you're supposed to go to the Super Bowl. This year you're supposed to be Super Bowl MVP. This year you're supposed to be MVP. Then you kind of shit the bed in the playoffs. It's like they paid him for his past performances. 100%, I get that. But they paid him, I think, before, if I'm not mistaken, I think they paid him before that. Or maybe it was 2021. Either way. 2 years in a row, sure, you go toe-to-toe with Mahomes. But if you can't win the big game, then I can understand the "what have you done for me lately" thing. But
well, after
they're 3-9 without Lamar, and that's that Lamar has Mark Andrews, as his only weapon in the entire offense, and a couple running backs.
Well,
after that's just kind of where I'm at.
No, I understand that, but after the game that he had with the Chiefs, nobody said what you're saying right now. Is that like, well, he couldn't win the big game. Like when he went and did that golf tournament with Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen, he sat up there and all the conversations were not if he was going to win or he can't win the big game. He had so much dignity after that way that game went as a historical game that people knew it was just a matter of time before Josh Allen brings a Lombardi. And that's why they were the Super Bowl favorites going into the year. When Lamar Jackson makes the team that he's on a Super Bowl favorite going into the season, then we can talk about real value. Like Lamar Jackson's never had the Ravens being a favorite to win the Super Bowl, but he has never had a playoff game like Josh Allen had. That's the real bottom line here. It's like you can't say Josh Allen chokes in big moments because of last season, because we've already seen him have incredible performances. When Lamar Jackson does that, he can get a seat at the table, but he doesn't have a seat at the table.
You don't think that Lamar had the Baltimore Ravens as a Super Bowl favorite after he won a unanimous MVP in 2019?
The Ravens were.
I think there was some conversation about the Ravens going to the Super Bowl that year in 2020.
Well, that would make sense. What have you done for me lately? But what year was he in?
Yeah, he was year
Because
2. It was his rookie
quarterbacks don't get
contract.
paid in year 2. Joe Burrow is going into his 3rd year with no contract.
Yeah.
And he took his team to a Super Bowl and almost a second in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is a part of your rookie contract.
My whole argument is, again, I'm not making excuses for anyone, but I think there's like a good 2 arguments here. A good quarterback or a great quarterback, right? Let's say a Patrick Mahomes, a Joe Burrow. Well, not even Joe Burrow. Tom Brady can make these guys, and Aaron Rodgers can make the players around them really, really, really good. Josh Allen needed Stephon Diggs to really get going. Joe Burrow had Jamar Chase year 2 after his injury, and T. Higgins, and I'm blanking on the 3rd wide receiver other than T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
Tyler Boyd.
And he's got Joe Mixon at running back. He was getting sacked a lot, sure, right? But he was still able to get those weapons off. So the organization did something for those 2 guys. They were able to get them weapons because they knew that they're like, fucking Steve, such an instigator. They were able to get weapons for those 2 guys because, hey, Josh Allen maybe does need a wide receiver 1. Joe Burrow, we got Jamar Chase. They had that connection in college. Let's fucking get them together. Let's see what happens. Sparks flew. Now they're probably one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos. Lamar Jackson won the unanimous MVP in 2019, and the Ravens is still like have not given him any sort of weapons, right? Like I feel like you have Mahomes and your Tom Brady's and your Aaron Rodgers who can make guys good, but you also have your Josh Allens and your Joe Burrows that have really, really, really good weapons, and in a sense, maybe that's why they're good.
It would be a waste.
We haven't seen Joe Burrow without weapons. We haven't seen Josh Allen without weapons. We haven't seen him in the same situation that Lamar Jackson is in, right?
If you saw Aaron Rodgers without weapons.
That's what I'm saying. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, those are the guys that can definitely make guys good. We haven't seen Joe Burrow without weapons. We haven't seen Josh Allen year 1 for Josh Allen was probably a different story. He was a rookie, whatever. That was the only time maybe he didn't have weapons. But look what happened when he got Stephon Diggs. Look what happened when their defense got really, really good. And look what happened when you paired up Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase's college teammate, and you already had T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd in there to kind of like round off that wide receiving core. I guess what I'm saying is there are quarterbacks who can make other wide receivers, running backs, tight ends really good, like an Aaron Rodgers, like a Brady. But there's other quarterbacks that maybe need weapons in order to succeed because I think
I hear you.
He's not going to be one of those. Sorry, I'm just getting frustrated over here because of my goddamn internet. But I think maybe Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields needs to have those weapons.
No, I totally hear you. So Lamar has let's see, Patrick Mahomes had 5,000 yards passing this year with absolutely nobody at receiver. And you can add his unanimous MVP season, his first season in almost 2020 and not get 5,000 yards passing from Lamar. He had 1,200 his rookie year. 3,100 was his unanimous MVP. Not even 4,000. Justin Herbert's had 4,000 receiving with obviously Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. But let's not act like it's like Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are like top 5. You know, they're barely on the field. And he had 3,000 in his unanimous MVP. 3,100. Lamar's never even gone over.
But he had 1,000 yards rushing that year as well.
Who cares? You're a fucking quarterback. If you're literally asking,
who cares? What are you talking about?
It doesn't matter.
That's offense. because the fucking
It
weapons
doesn't.
around
No,
him. What do you mean?
it
This is
doesn't.
what I'm saying.
No, why would you? It would be a waste of talent to bring Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd away from a real pocket pure quarterback. Joe Burrow is a pure quarterback. He's going to throw the ball. Lamar Jackson's going to get what, 3,000 yards passing? If he's going to run the ball, then you don't need what is it? Are we giving him weapons and he's going to be a pocket quarterback? Or do you want him to run for 1,000 yards and we're not going to invest in the receivers because he's going to throw for less than 3,000 yards? But you can't have both. It just doesn't make sense. Like
You can't have both.
I
You're saying you
understand the
can't have
argument
both?
with Aaron Rodgers. No, because receivers are going to end up getting frustrated. They're not going to want to play. It's not good for their career to every time they get wide open to look back at their quarterback and he's running. Like even Jalen Hurts can run the ball. We saw him run for over 75 yards and 4 touchdowns, but you never ever thought that he was going to, unless it was a designed run, he was not going to use his legs first. He's always keeping his head downfield, always trying to make a play with his arm. And that's what you want a quarterback. Like to say like, oh, you bring in all these receivers for a quarterback that isn't even going to use them almost unless they're not immediately open is just to me a waste of resources.
But
Like if you
I don't think the Bears bringing in DJ Moore is a waste to DJ Moore. It's trying to get Justin Fields to progress as a passer and still have that asset of him running the ball, being able to rush for almost. He rushed over 1,000 yards. I think he almost beat Lamar's record. And that's kind of to my point. So why didn't you bring in a number one wide receiver for Lamar Jackson instead of hoping Hollywood Brown was going to be a good guy, or
maybe he
hoping
could
that
have
Mark
been.
Andrews was going to be the only one? Hollywood Brown isn't
Maybe
in
Hollywood
shit. He's had one
maybe
good season in
Hollywood
Baltimore.
Brown, maybe if he was on the Chiefs, Hollywood Brown would have been somebody.
Maybe, but maybe if Lamar had a number one wide receiver, he wouldn't need to run the ball for 1,000 yards, and
When
he'd
was
have a Super
Hollywood
Bowl.
Brown drafted?
He was drafted in 2019 or 2020, something like that.
No, like where was he drafted? Because he was drafted.
Steve, I hate you. He just replaced our names. Don't let him talk to you like that. Blank, throw down Rick and Kyle. Oh, we got Tyler. We got Tyler in here. Tyler.
What's up? Got Tyler in the chat. He's going to the Packers, he said. I heard he was going to the Packers. I love it. What do you think? Lamar to the Packers?
Absolutely not. I would literally kill myself. I can't say that. Sorry. I would literally shit myself if he went to the Packers. I'd be so mad.
Professional career. 25th overall. He was drafted in the first round. The Baltimore Ravens spent a first round draft pick on a receiver. And because Lamar Jackson didn't turn him into shit, now you're like, who did he? Hollywood Brown, they're not like they made an effort. They drafted a wide receiver with their first round pick. And Lamar Jackson has turned Hollywood Brown into a forgetful career, a guy that we can't even remember that he was drafted in the first round. Honestly,
Lamar Jackson did that to Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, like Patrick Mahomes did the opposite to Sky
So Lamar
Moore.
Jackson isn't a Devontae Adams, and he's not an OBJ, and he's not a DJ Moore, who are wide receivers who are good, that you said earlier are so good that they can make a name for themselves. That's Hollywood Brown to you. Hollywood Brown to you is a Devontae Adams and a DJ Moore type of player where he can make a name for himself.
No, you don't get to just get one of those. Like you draft them. Do you know when Reggie Wayne was drafted? Marvin Harrison was drafted pretty high. Reggie Wayne was drafted in he was drafted like
early
30th. No, like in the draft. Reggie Wayne was drafted right where Hollywood Brown was drafted. So these you can't like say, oh, these GMs aren't giving the Ravens any weapons. If you can look on the track record and see that they're drafting receivers with their first round pick, that's them making an effort. That's what Aaron Rodgers wanted the Packers to do. The Ravens did that for Lamar Jackson. And yeah, it's like at what point does somebody go through 3-4 years and it's like, hey, maybe the chicken did come before the egg, because why are none of Lamar Jackson's receivers good receivers? Maybe it's
So
because he hasn't thrown over 3,000 yards, but one time in his career, because he likes to run the ball, which is fine. I think you could actually go that route and win a lot of games and make it into the playoffs. But you have to be able to beat the Chiefs. And if you watch
yeah,
that Chiefs Buffalo game and you're in the AFC, you felt very, very disappointed because you realize that there's a level, and you're not going to make it to the Super Bowl unless you can do what you just saw on TV. And to think you were going to get to that level felt like miles and miles away, unless you were a team with an extremely good quarterback, like the Jaguars feel with Trevor Lawrence, like the Bengals feel with Joe Burrow. There's not that kind of confidence surrounding Lamar Jackson. And that's really like how I feel about it. But I do
yeah.
think Lamar Jackson's a good quarterback, but who
I
cares
just
about
think he
being
needs
good?
weapons. I just think he needs weapons around him
So you think he could win the Super Bowl?
with actual legit weapons. Yeah, probably.
He could okay.
Yeah,
Maybe.
absolutely.
Maybe he could win one Super Bowl.
If do you
I
think
don't know
Joe
how you're
Burrow
going to
would
pay
be
for weapons
do
with
you
giving
think
him
Joe Burrow would
250
be Joe
million guaranteed.
Burrow? Do you think Joe Burrow would be Joe Burrow in Baltimore?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I think Joe Burrow would be Joe
Without
Burrow
Jamar Chase,
anywhere.
without Tyler Boyd, without T. Higgins,
Yeah, you can't.
and Mark
Why don't
Andrews is his only
you know what
weapon.
a better question would be? Do you think Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd would be Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins without Joe Burrow? That's a better question, because Joe Burrow, all he does is win, just like Trevor Lawrence.
But Hollywood Brown is no
Dude,
one
you're talking about the
with
worst
Lamar
organization
and
in the
without
NFL.
Lamar. I guess that's my argument. Like Hollywood Brown was picked 25th in the first round and has not done anything in his career
Okay,
with or
so it's
without
not just
Lamar.
because Lamar didn't make him better.
Like he hasn't made himself better. That's my argument. Like the argument is a player because of them or because of the quarterback? It's like Hollywood
Both.
Brown is neither.
It's both. It's both. It's literally
I
both.
guess I don't get it. I guess I don't get it. But I think just like what the Bears are doing with Fields, I think that's what they should have done with Lamar after his MVP season. Let's
What
go
they
get him a
do?
wide
Bring
receiver.
in DJ Moore?
Yeah, they brought in DJ Moore. That's a legit number one wide receiver. You're telling me DJ Moore on the Ravens?
Hollywood
Lamar would
Brown is at this point washed up. But that's what the Ravens did, the equivalent when they drafted Hollywood Brown, is what the Bears just did.
no, because the Bears just got a legit wide receiver one who's had 3 seasons in a row with 1,000 yards receiving and 50 plus touchdowns.
Yeah, but who's your tight
If
end?
he
Not
had
Mark
done that with
Andrews.
the Bears, would be the leading wide receiver in Bears history.
Well,
That's what the Ravens should have done.
that just goes to show how bad the quarterbacks in Chicago have been.
Yeah, and the organizations too, man. Like that just kind of goes to show everything. I guess my conclusion, and we should conclude this soon, because this was a damn good argument, and I really wish I had that argument of the week sound that we could have played at the beginning.
Argument of the
because,
week with
because
Kyle and
Steve,
Rick.
Tyler, and Bill are loving it right now. Yeah. What I think they should have done for Lamar is what Aaron Rodgers wishes the organization would have done for him, is getting him more weapons instead of going for other positions. That's me. I think Lamar is one of those guys that needs weapons. Because again, like I said earlier, Josh Allen needs Stephon Diggs to be Josh Allen, in my opinion. Joe Burrow, we have not seen him without weapons because T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase was their second year. So he had that connection almost right away in a sense. And yeah, you're right. They're probably one of the worst organizations ever, probably one of the cheapest too, but they had weapons. Like Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow had that instant connection when he got to the NFL, and that's kind of where they made each other who they are.
Yeah, they were bad our whole life.
Yeah, Carson, what's his name? Carson
Palmer.
There? Carson Palmer.
Yeah, they had like a couple of good years.
Yeah, with like Ocho Cinco and Hushmanzada, like all those guys. Yeah. They were okay for a couple of years.
That was a family friend played for them in those years.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, man,
Kevin
that's just kind of where
Walter.
I'm at. I think if the Ravens had done to Lamar after his MVP season, or maybe after 2020, 2021, what the Bears are doing today with Justin Fields, and hopefully it works out where Justin Fields, like, not only is passing the ball for more than 4,000 yards, getting 300 plus yards per game, a couple touchdowns, less, really cut down that interception rate. Lamar Jackson would be getting a contract that he's asking for. What and none of that happened, obviously. I just think it is more on the organization for not catering to your franchise quarterback in terms of getting him more talent in the 4 years and justifying that by saying Hollywood Brown could have been good. You know what I mean? Like, I
Like
just think
almost
that
like who
was
cares about the defense as long as you have an offense? Because you got to remember there's a salary cap. So these
doesn't
court
exist.
like
I don't
DJ
believe it
Moore,
exists.
DJ Moore is getting paid what $20 million this year. The Bears can do that because they're not paying your
15 or
quarterback.
something, yeah.
No, it's like 20. It's 20.
Something like that, yeah. I forget what it
And
was.
the
I
Bears
took
aren't
back.
paying Justin Fields, so they can afford to do that. Lamar Jackson wants a lot of money and all of it guaranteed.
No, but I'm
So
saying they could have done that prior to
Tom
having to pay him.
Brady, a lot of those years that you think about Randy Moss and these elite receivers being there, Tom Brady took a pay cut. Tom Brady in his last 2 years in Tampa made the amount Aaron Rodgers made this last year, $50 million. Tom Brady made 25. He takes pay cuts so that they can bring talent. This has been a known thing about Tom Brady for a long time. You want to
He
be
was in
the
his
highest
rookie
paid.
contract.
What's his
He's
rookie?
in his he
Yes,
was in his rookie
that's
contract. Why didn't you bring in
who.
talent during his rookie contract?
That's the
Lamar.
Hollywood Brown draft. We're going in a circle. But my
No, it's
point
literally
is
like
once you go down the line, it's not a secret that if you like Joe Burrow is on his rookie contract. That's why Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are on their rookie contract. Do you think in 5 years those three will be together? Because they won't. Because one of them is going to get paid and the other are going to have to walk. And
yeah.
unless somebody's willing to take a team-friendly contract, they're not all going to stick together. And that's just the part of the business that you have to fully understand. It's not always just, oh, we're not going to give this guy weapons. It's that you can't have the cake and eat it too. Like, you want to be the highest paid quarterback? We'll make you the highest paid quarterback because you're putting us in a predicament where we either have to say, would we rather have a mediocre quarterback and a lot of weapons or a really good quarterback that hopefully makes the other players around him better? I think we could win a Super Bowl with the second option more than we can with the first. And history will tell you that that's true. But very rare does. Why do you think Tyreek Hill didn't get paid? I mean, it's just the way it goes sometimes.
Oh, that's because Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. I think, in my
Yeah,
opinion, yeah.
I agree. And Lamar Jackson's not in that conversation.
No, but neither I think is whatever. We're gonna table it here. We're gonna stop it right here because we can go. Me and Kyle could go on and on about this, and I kind of
Yeah.
I enjoyed
I'm gonna
it.
call him in an hour and be like, dude, I was just taking a shower and I'm kicking myself. I should have said this.
Okay, but when you said this, here's my rebuttal.
It's a great argument because we're both making valid points. And most
Yeah,
arguments are like this.
and I think it's best like this, and like Steve was like, "This is entertaining, I love it," and so was Bill, is because we actually believe in the takes that we're talking about. We're not like, and you've said it
Yeah.
before, we're not ESPN where we're arguing for the sake of argument. It's not that. It's I literally think Lamar, if this had happened or that had happened, like he would command this contract. Kyle's like, no, because of this, and this. And like you said, it's because we actually care and believe ourselves when we're saying this. So